Are the Georgia Bulldogs about to land another big-time player out of the transfer portal? That's what we're hearing over on Dawg Post, and it could come sooner than later. But first, going into the spring, myself and I think everyone else thought that Georgia's secondary was going to be not only the weakest part of the defense, but maybe the weakest part of the entire team going into the spring. Kirby Smart has fixed that, and he's fixed that in a big way through the transfer portal, adding 2 defensive backs already, and one might be on the way, and that is former Clemson Tiger, Derion Kendrick, who left the team in February, entered the transfer portal in early March, got arrested like 10 days after that. He's been in the transfer portal ever since, but we are hearing those charges could be dropped, and Kendrick could be the latest big-time player to enter the transfer portal and commit to the University of Georgia, and it would be a big deal. Again, we talked about it over and over again. Georgia's secondary lost Tyson Campbell, Eric Stokes, Richard LeCount, DJ Daniel, Mark Webb, so many guys, and there's playing time up for grabs. I wasn't sure who was going to take those spots of guys on the team, guys we saw during the spring game at G-Day. But I think Kirby Smart wanted to go bigger and better, and he needed to. He went and got Tyke Smith, All-American from West Virginia, a guy who played with new defensive backs coach Jamiel Adai, 60-plus tackles last year at West Virginia, 2 interceptions, 5 pass breakups. He's going to play mostly the star role, Georgia's extra defensive back. But even when they only have 4 defensive backs out there, Tyke Smith is going to be on the field. So he is an instant impact guy who immediately makes Georgia's defensive back group better. Another guy that happened recently, guy from Alabama, Brandon Turnage, redshirted in 2019, didn't play, only played in 3 games last year as a redshirt freshman. He said, it's time for me to go. I actually want to go out and play. He transferred to Georgia. Is he a cornerback? Probably. Can he play some safety? Maybe. So I think he's the guy that Kirby likes. He's a long, athletic kid. I think like 6'1", 190 pounds. So versatile kid who could play a number of different positions. But if they get Derion Kendrick, again, this has not happened yet, but something that we think could happen very soon. Again, for the latest, go over to Dawg Post. But if they get him, he is a day 1 starter. He's a multi-year starter at Clemson. Last year, 20 tackles, did miss 3 games to some discipline issues. That's something that he definitely has to get straightened out sooner than later. This is a money year for him. He can't be spending it not on the field and not playing. But last year, 20 tackles for Clemson, had a really impressive interception against Miami, had a scoop and score against Virginia Tech. But again, he did miss 3 games, and he broke up 6 passes. So very talented kid. He might be a guy on a short leash, so to speak, but if he does commit to Georgia soon and play for the Bulldogs this year, he's going to be a starter at cornerback. Is Brandon Turnage the other starter at cornerback? You still have Jalen Kimber, who is a pretty good player, former 4-star, got a lot of playing time in the spring game, had his ups and downs for sure. He was far from perfect. Then you have Keely Ringo, 5-star guy that I went to go see in high school. I know what he can do. Coming off a big injury, redshirted last year, he's still a question mark. So is Jalen Kimber, but so is Brandon Turnage. So again, if Kendrick does commit to Georgia, that's one of your guys, locked up cornerback spot right there. The other cornerback spot is up for grabs. Amir Speed, another veteran guy, bigger cornerback. You don't want him covering a Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith type, but he's a guy who can bring a veteran experience presence and a physical presence on the outside. So again, Tyke Smith is going to be on the field. You have Lewis Seen at safety. Christopher Smith, does he continue to have the other safety role where Richard LeCount played last year? Or is a guy like Brandon Turnage going to step in there and give that a shot? So there's a lot of talented dudes in the secondary. Some of them were guys that Kirby recruited and signed. And as we've seen, 2 guys already on board from the transfer portal and maybe one more. And it's possibly another All-American. You already got one All-American, Tyke Smith, transferring in. He might get another one in Derion Kendrick soon. There's lots of news, lots of rumors out there. So again, make sure you guys go to Dawg Post for the latest there. But as it relates to Kendrick, this would be a big deal, like I've said multiple times. But he does have some discipline issues. I've heard from people close to the Clemson program that he's a little soft, doesn't like to hit, doesn't like to tackle. that is going to be a problem. If you play for Kirby Smart and his secondary, you better be physical. You better know how to come up and make a hit and make a tackle in the open field. Not sure Kendrick can do that. He probably can if he gives it his all, but is he a guy that gives 100% every play? I don't know. Is he physical? I'm not sure. I do know that he could play the ball. He's got ball skills. And he's a veteran guy. He's played on some really good defenses at Clemson, played in big games, made a lot of plays in those big games. He's got the size. He's got the talent. He's a former five-star guy. He's very talented. There's a reason he's played so much for Clemson early in his career. But is he tough and physical? I don't know. Can he force a fumble? I don't know. But he can play the ball well, and he still needs to get his head on straight. But again, this video is basically just talking about Georgia's secondary being a weakness to maybe being one of the best in the conference by adding the two they already have and possibly adding Darian Kendrick. And again, if Keely Ringo, is the five-star that I went and saw in person, the guy that everyone else thought was incredible, if he turns out to be that five-star, then you still have him on the outside who can make all the plays needed as well. The dude has the size, the speed, the overall talent. We've talked about him a lot. But if he can turn out to be the guy everyone thinks he can, that's another lockdown corner that you have. So lots of potential for this group to be very, very good and one of the best in the conference. And they're going to see a lot of high-powered offenses. They're not going to see a lot of good quarterbacks next year, I will say that. But they're going to be tested still because teams are going to continue to throw the football. But I don't see a lot of quarterbacks. Maybe DJ Uiagalelei. I really hope I totally did not butcher that. Something I've got to practice on. But he's the best quarterback they're going to see all year. And if they can hold that guy in Clemson's high-powered passing offense to a minimum and end up winning that game, I don't see many other teams being able to throw the ball on Georgia, again, especially if Darian Kendrick is on board. Tyke Smith doing his thing. This is a money year for him, too. These guys transferred to Georgia to play in the NFL. So this is a big year for all of these guys. And I think is the biggest change of a position group on Georgia's team that we've seen over the last few months. And again, that's due to the transfer portal. Kirby's going to use this as much as he can in situations like this. And it's a big part of college football. We're going to see it more and more and more. And, we see it already with quarterbacks. Now we're seeing it with five-star defensive backs who are done playing with a certain coach or a certain system. But it looks like Georgia could be the beneficiary of another big-time prospect from the transfer portal coming in. So I want to hear what you think. Does Georgia have one of the best secondaries in the SEC now? Is it still the biggest weakness on the defense? You could still probably say that. Georgia's front seven is one of the best in college football. But it doesn't look like it's a weakness as it once did as we headed into the spring. That doesn't make any sense. But a few months ago. Either way, it's a very talented group, and it could be even better very, very soon. So make sure you go over to dawgpost.com for the latest on Kendrick, all the recruiting scoop that I'm pushing out. Big time month of June for recruiting. Make sure y'all are all stayed up to date on that, and I will see you over on the website.